What's going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and up next, we are going to be talking about some big books that are from the late bronze, copper into modern era that are coming up for sale, how those books are going to perform. It's always interesting to watch this stuff because it really gives you a feel for what people are interested in that moment. Are we going to see price increases from the last time they came up for sale, or are they going to continue to decline? Let's check this out. Right. So before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. So if you watched my last video, I was talking about a bunch of different 9.9s that were coming up for sale in some big auctions. One of the auctions that I talked about was the upcoming Heritage Signature Auction. So if you aren't familiar with Heritage, they're one of the biggest auction houses out there, and they have regular weekly comic auctions, but they also have what are called signature auctions that seem to happen about every 8 weeks or so. And these are the auctions that have the really big books. These are the ones where you've got those 9.8 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1s, the Batman one, Superman one, Action one, all those types of books, the really cool stuff that even if a lot of us aren't going to be participating in those auctions, because, most of the time I think it's just a little too far outside the budget. Every once in a while, there's a book that's in there that I can, make a go after. But a lot of times these are just the books that are just a little too high of a tier for me. But I still enjoy checking out the sales, watching what these books go for, and just seeing these amazing comics because, these are the cream of the crop, like the top books out there in terms of value, at least. What we're going to be talking about in this video are the books that are in what Heritage calls the modern era, which is late bronze, copper, and modern. It's basically 1980 through to today. And this one's always fun to talk about because here, we'll pull this up here, because there aren't generally very many books in their signature auctions that fall into this category. And that's because when you get to books that are this modern, and I know 1980 is 44 years ago, so it's like modern, but when you get to books that are this modern, there aren't a lot of them that fall into that category that would get into the signature auction that are expensive enough. And so you do come across some pretty cool books though, but a lot of times you see similar ones. And so you can get an idea how these books are really performing and how the market is treating them because you see them come up in these types of signature auctions. And so the first one we're going to talk about here is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. Now, this is the first print. This is a 9.8. This one happens to also be, here we can zoom in on the label here. This one is also signed on the interior by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. Now, you might ask, why does it have a blue label? That's because it's on the interior. If it was on the outside, they would be giving, it would have had a green label. They do have the JSA signature certification right now, but I don't believe that works for magazines yet. It's only for comics, so I don't think you could actually get the JSA label at this time. But when you've got it signed on the interior, they don't mark you down on the grade for it, whether you agree with that or not. Now, so this one's a 9.8. I don't know, got a little it's got a little corner crease there. Now, I've seen small corner creases in 9.8s before, but I don't know. Feels like a 9.6. But hey, it's a 9.8 on the label, so it's probably going to sell for 9.8 price. But regardless of my opinion on on that one, when you're zoomed out here, you can't see it, but yeah, it definitely has a corner crease there. But first appearance of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, first appearance of Shredder, first appearance of Splinter, and definitely an expensive book, but a book that has been trending down pretty consistently for the last few years. So look at this one. This one just sold. I think this was in the last Heritage auction, was 87,000. Yep. Yeah. You can see here, last Heritage auction, 87,000 for an off-white to white. Now this one is a white page copy and it has these signatures. Maybe that makes a difference. We'll see when it ultimately comes up for sale. But this one went even lower than what I thought it was going to. I thought this one was going to keep going down from the prior sales. You can see here, 132, 126, and then 87. a $39,000 drop. Now, part of that might have been the page quality. Part of it might be that this book is just, it's still overpriced. I mean, I've talked about this one. I wouldn't be shocked to see if this book fell down into the 50s or 60s, somewhere in that range eventually. I mean, just look at where it was. That's how I really have been looking at this now for the last year or so. At first, when we saw these big spikes in prices back during the comic boom, I didn't know if it was going to level off and just wait for many years for kind of prices to catch up, or if we were going to see a trend back down. And we have definitely shown over the last year, 2 years, that these books are just trending back down until they get back in line with where they were previously. And so anytime I see a book that's still well above where it was prior to those comic boom prices, I mean, I'm steering clear. I'm being very, very cautious with it. And so if we look at this, like prior to the comic boom, 2018, this is a $38,000 book. 2019 went up to 52, then 90. You know, we had a $90,000 sale, then almost $250,000 during the comic boom, and now it just keeps dropping and dropping and dropping, and it's now about a third of that peak value. And I mean, you can see here, like 50,000 in 2019, maybe it gets back down around that, like 50 to 60. So that's, I'm not saying it's going to necessarily drop to that with this sale, and it's even possible that this one bumps back up a little bit from that $87,000 sale, because that was a big drop all at once. But my general opinion in the, say, 3-year range is that I could see this book just gradually trending down, back down to around 50 or 60,000. So I'd be cautious with it. I mean, if you want it, you want it. You know, it's, I mean, this is an expensive book. If you're dropping this type of money on a comic, it probably doesn't matter all that much if it loses, 10, 20 grand. But my take is I think eventually it's probably going to drop down to 50 or 60. This one probably sells around 90. It might do a little better just because it has those signatures, and his white pages might even get up to around 100. But I'd be pretty cautious at those types of prices. All right. Now the next one. There's actually 2 of these that are coming up. We've got the Ultimate Fallout 4 Universal, and then a little further down, we've got an Ultimate Fallout 4, and this is the Jurjevic variant. This one is signed and remarked, all this kind of stuff. And this book, I mean, it's no mystery that I have been telling people to be very, very cautious with this book. I mean, let's check this one out. This is the first appearance of Miles Morales. This is the 1 in 25, and white pages copy, from which they probably all are. We guess from 2011, currently at $4,320. If you're not aware, this is the book that, I mean, it basically was the epitome of the comic boom. It went from around $2,000 to like $43,000. I mean, 21x, 22x jump in that short period of time. And so if we look at the variant here, this is a $9,300 sale. This was on Heritage as well. This was on that last Heritage auction. Finally, on a big public auction platform, it broke below 10. Now, my guidance has been I wouldn't touch this book until it hit like 5. And if it doesn't hit 5, fine. I am fine just staying away from it. And the big part of that is where this book was. I mean, just like, look at that. Like, super flat down there, all until the comic boom. And so leading up to the comic boom, I mean, 2018, it was $1,200 to $2,000. 2019, $1,800 to $2,900. Even in 2020, it still had a $2,500 sale. Then jumped to $9,000, then $30,000, then $40,000, then this $43,200 peak sale in early 2023. I think it was in like January. January 2023, $43,200. And just look at this like march down. I mean, 34, 33, 27, 21, 19, 20, 12. This 9,500 was on eBay. And then now we had a couple ones above that earlier this year, 15 and 16, and then 9,300. And I expect it to continue to drop. I mean, that's just how I see it. I expect this book to continue to drop. I'm standing by I wouldn't touch it until it gets down to like 5. That's just my take on it. It's currently at 4,320. We'll see. We'll see what it goes for. Now, like I said, there is another one that's also a 9.8 that is signed by multiple people, has a couple big remarks on the cover. Personally, I actually kind of like signatures depending on, what it is. I tend to like the Stanley signatures on really big books. As long as he isn't like writing it on some character's face or something like that. But I don't like this. And that's where signatures and remarks are definitely person to person. So I'm sure there are people out there that love this. And then, for me, I don't like it. I do not like the appearance of this. I wouldn't be surprised if this one actually goes for less than the unsigned version. And the reason I'm just saying that is that I think that already we're seeing a downtrend in this book. We got 2 copies in this auction, and this one is definitely going to have a reduced number of people that are interested in it. I mean, just anytime you have signatures, it does generally reduce the pool of buyers. Doesn't necessarily mean it sells for less all the time. A lot of times, I mean, those Stanley signatures, Jack Kirby signatures, those go for big premiums. But in this case, I think that this one will, whatever the other one goes for, I think this one will go for less. That's my my take on it. I think the other one probably go around what the last one sold for, maybe around 9. This one might go like 7 to 8, and I wouldn't be shocked if it went, if it maybe even went lower. But we'll see. Again, that's the interesting thing with auctions. You've got a firm end point, and this one ends, you can see right here, in 18 days. So in 18 days, we'll have the answer to that question. This one also ends in 18 days. So we'll have the answer to this question in just about 2.5 weeks. All right. Now, this one is pretty cool. I've actually seen I don't know, 2 or 3 copies of this book pop up in a 9.8 recently, which is pretty wild. So if you're not familiar with this is Malibu Sun number 13, which is kind of like the first Spawn on a cover. I believe it's pre-Spawn number 1, but he's not like in a story or anything. So however you want to look at it, it's like Spawn preview. And this is the Air variant though. And so the Air variant has the coloring is all messed up on Spawn on the back. And 9.8 is a tough grade for this book. Let's take a look at this. So it says, 3 and 9.8, none higher. So there are not a ton of 9.8s or anything out there for this book. I saw asking prices I've seen for this in a 9.8 are around 20. I don't know how recently a 9.8 has sold, if ever. Let's check it out. Malibu Sun number 13. The 9.8 without the Air, I think, is maybe a $2,000 book, $1,500. Oh no, okay, so 2,600. Yeah, so 2,600. So the 9.8 without the Air, we've ranged from 3,600 to 2,600 this year. Definitely above its comic boom prices. Prior to this was, or prior to the comic boom, it was like 1,000 to 1,500, peaked at 5,700, now sitting around 2,600. Now the Air edition, okay, so we've never had a 9.8 Air edition at least sell on GPA. So a public sale that gets pulled into GPA. It's possible there have been private sales, or maybe there's been a sale on Comic Link or something like that. But on GPA, there hasn't been. And you can see here, 2021, a 9.6 sold for 4,000. If we look at the difference between a 9.6 and a 9.8 right now for the standard, it's about 2.5 times. Man, I don't know. Like I said, I know there's some big numbers being thrown around out there for this book. I don't know. This is one where I'm really swinging. I'm just swinging in the dark at this one. I'm going to say probably around 10. I think around 10 is where I'm going to estimate this one. But this is the interesting thing with auctions. It just takes 2 people that really, really want it, and it can go to the moon. Just takes 2 people competing, and it can go to the moon. Or if those people aren't in the room, it can go very, very low. I'm going to estimate 10. and we'll see what it ultimately goes for. But I think this just really comes down to the fact that there's only 3 out there in a 9.8, and how much do the people out there because Spawn's a popular character, how much do those Spawn collectors want this? And I'm gonna go 10. I'm gonna say 10 grand, but let me know in the comments if you think otherwise. All right, let's keep going down. All right, now this one's interesting because I am almost certain that this is Dave from Comic Book Investments copy. So because the reason I say that is because it says the Stephen Galacci personal file copy, and maybe I butchered that name. I'm sorry if I did. But this is why. I remember him unboxing this book, and he got it sent in this package that had this little drawing of Usagi Yojimbo on the package. It looks like he sent that in there with it. So that's pretty cool. Now I remember that because Heritage he did a video about this because we've got, let's see, Albedo #2. And because this is another one I've been talking about where I feel like this book has gotten way ahead of itself on price, like way ahead of itself, like that it's getting price points around or above Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. And this is not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1. Like it shouldn't be, to me, getting prices anywhere near that. Print counts are similar. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1, the first print, I think is 3,000 copies. I think Albedo #2, I think is like just 2,000. So it's a little less, but TMNT, like way more popular than Usagi Yojimbo. But there was this sale that happened on Heritage in that same auction that I've been talking about with a couple of these other books, went for 33,600, which I talked about this one on Instagram. This was a wild sale to me. This was a massive, massive sale, especially because a 9.8 sold on Comic Link like 2 weeks before this for like 28, like 28 or 27,000. And then, but so that's the thing. Comic Link doesn't get pulled in here. All that's on here is this $55,000 sale from, I think this was Heritage as well. So from January of this year. So all that's in GPA, all that's in Go Collect is this $55,200 sale. If you aren't aware that Comic Link sale happened, then you have no idea. You have no idea. And I've talked about that with Comic Link sales. Like people will sometimes get real upset that, we don't talk about those numbers as much, but if you didn't see that book sell and happen to remember it, it's just basically gone. Like they do tend to keep them on their site. And so you could find them, but the challenge is actually, so let's see if we go to spring, maybe it might've been spring featured auction. Let's see here. Yeah, here it is. So you can find them on their site if you remember, if you knew it sold there, but otherwise you're just kind of like blindly searching for these books. But here's that 9.8 that just sold. So the history on this one sold, you can see here, May 28th, $25,319. 9.8 white pages, and then right after that, we had this 9.6 go for 33,600. So the question is, which one's wrong? Which one's the outlier? And my personal opinion has been that I thought this book in a 9.8 should trend back down to about 20. And so I thought like 25,000 that one sold for, totally reasonable. It's trending back down to around where it probably should be, especially given what a TMNT 1 sells for. And then all of a sudden we have this big sale. Then when you go to GPA, these are the only ones that are there. And so I wouldn't be shocked if then this one, and it's got this cool little sketch and that kind of thing. And it's that personal file copy, that this one maybe goes, much higher, and we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. We'll see what this one ultimately ends up selling for. But there have been some very wild price points on Albedo #2. Like I said, we had 9.8 that just sold a few months ago for 25 grand. Right there on Comic Link. And then you had this 9.6 sold for 33,000. Yeah. Like less than a month later. And now we've got this one coming up. It's sitting at 2,700 right now. And hey, if this one was going for like 20 grand, I might throw my hat in the ring for that. Like, I think it'd be a cool book to own. A 9.8. There aren't a lot of them. Get that file copy. But I mean, once it starts getting into the realm of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1, that's just, that doesn't seem like the pricing is right to me, in my opinion. But it's always the fun of auctions. You never know until that bidding is done. So it's the next book, pretty cool one. So we've had, we got a 9.8 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1, 9.8 of Albedo #2, like some pretty big independents. Then another big independent that's coming up, Walking Dead #1 from Image Comics. This one definitely also has been trending down. So Walking Dead #1. And I mean, a big part of that, I don't even know if the show is going anymore. I used to watch that, the TV show. I don't think the original show is going anymore, but I don't know if they have any of their, like, the offshoots that are still going. You can see here, it just kind of does these waves up and down over time. I feel like if you want this book, try to catch it on one of the lulls and just try not to buy it when it's near one of these peaks. But this year, ranging from 1,800 to 3,300, looks like it's probably right now around a $2,200 to $2,400 book. I mean, there's some sales down around 2, and so it might go a little lower than that. I would say around, this one maybe goes for 2,000 to 2,200, in that range. There have definitely been a few that have been above that. It could go a little above that, but that's around where this one seems to be sitting right now. This is, I mean, it's been surprisingly consistent for, I mean, what now, like 11 years, where just ranging between around 2,200 and like 4,000 in that range, and just fluctuates up and down. So like I said, if you're interested in this one, I would just be patient. It's not like they don't come up for sale regularly, and try to buy it at one of those kind of like a little bit of a dip over that period. All right. Now, one that's pretty cool, you don't see all that often, especially not signed, is this Spider-Man #1. This is the Platinum edition, though. This is the biggest one of all the different versions of Spider-Man #1. There's the gold, the silver, the poly bag. There's the gold UPC. I'm sure there's something else I'm missing. And then there's, the standard copy. Then there's the Platinum. And the big thing with the Platinum, if you hold them, I've never actually held one, but from what I understand, like, the Platinum cover is much more like a cardstock. And so you can tell very, very quickly that you have the Platinum version if you happen to find one. So right now, sitting at 1,500 for a 9.8. That feels very low right now, but we've got quite a while until this auction closes out. Like I said, it's like 2.5 weeks away. There's gonna be a lot of bids that happen up until then, and you're gonna have a lot of bids during the live. So if we go to Spider-Man #1, and first let's just look at the Platinum unsigned, and then we'll look at what the signature might add to it. So the Platinum unsigned, if we go down to a 9.8, there's so many of these. There's so many. 9.8, the last Platinum sale, 4,400. That 70, I guarantee it wasn't the Platinum copy. There's no way that was a Platinum. That was probably the standard, and it just got incorrectly pulled in here. But you can see here, 31, 38, 38, 44, probably around 38. 44 seems on the high side. So probably around a $3,800 book right now in a 9.8 unsigned. Let's see if any signed copies have sold. I mean, Todd McFarlane signatures tend to add quite a bit of value. So if we go to those are 9.9s. So go 9.8 Platinum signed by Todd McFarlane. I mean, look at this. One just sold in June for $7,800. That is $4,000 more than the unsigned Platinum. Like that. That's wild. That is a massive sale. Let's see, where did that feels like a heritage sale. Just the number. Yeah. All right. Is it the same copy? Let's check. No, it's a different copy. You can see it's got different, the ink is a little different on it, unless there's something with the reflection. Let's see. Let's make sure it's actually a different copy. Oh yeah, it is, because we've got, this one has the Todd McFarlane label. Maybe somebody really wanted that label, paid the premium for the label. This one doesn't have the special label. I don't think it's going to go for $7,800. That is a wild sale to me. I could see it going for like 55. Still going for a big premium. But I could see it going for like 5,500. But we'll see. Pretty cool. I actually like the signature more. It's a little brighter, I guess. So I think it's a cool signature on there. It's not the full Todd. You're just getting the T. Doesn't have the special label, but yeah, 5,500. That's my guess on this one. All right, I'm gonna skip past Edge of Spider-Verse 2. It's just, if you're not aware, it's this is the first appearance of Spider-Gwen. This is the variant edition, the Greg Land variant, and another book that's just been trending down. So, if you've been looking for those, it might be a time to really start paying attention. But make sure, again, like I said, check out what the prices were prior to the comic boom and what they are now, and just see where they're sitting in comparison, and just be cautious with that. All right, we've got Batman Adventures 12. I'd like to check out the price. I haven't checked this one at all. I don't know what the current prices are for it. We've got a 9.8. This is the direct edition, not the newsstand. And so this is the first appearance of Harley Quinn out of continuity. But it's the one that everybody wants. And I'm guessing part of it also is like a lot of us watch, the cartoon. And so I think that's a draw too, is that this is the style of the characters that, we were used to when we watched that cartoon. But go Batman Adventures 12, 1993, 9.8, and last sale 2000, which actually seems kind of strong. It's ranged from 1,680 to 2,880. I'd say it's like a $1,900 book right now, 1,900 to 2,000 in that range. And sitting at 1110 right now, I think it's going to go around $2,000. There's a lot of demand for this book. We've got the Joker 2 movie coming out that's got Harley Quinn, Lady Gaga playing Harley Quinn. I saw the trailer for that when I went and saw Alien Romulus. So looks like it could be fun. Yeah, we'll see. That'll be an interesting one to see what that one's like, because I think it's got a lot of like musical components to it. So I don't know. We'll see how that plays. I'm sure it's going to make a ton of money regardless. But Batman Adventures number 12, first appearance Harley Quinn, 9.8 white pages. I think probably around $2,000. That's what that one will go for. It's pretty cool. I'm not going to even try pricing something like this. We've got a Spawn 1 through 12 exclusive hardcover signed by Todd McFarlane. It's got a little, that's pretty cool. It's got this little spider, drawn on there too. So, that's a pretty cool item if you're interested, if you're into that, but no idea what that one's ultimately going to go for. This I thought was strange. We've got 2 copies of Venom number 1, 9.8 black, the black variant. Like one of them has the custom Venom label, one of them doesn't, but it's just strange having 2 effectively identical books that are selling in the auction. Like normally I'd think you'd want to split these out, between 2 different auctions, but hey, because then you're going to have bidders competing with one another. And so you probably get on average a lower sale price. Who knows though? I've seen it happen before where the first one goes and then people have regrets for not bidding on it. And then the second one actually bids higher, so you never really know how that stuff's going to play out. But let's check this one out, because to see 2 of them, it's not a book. The Black Era variant is not a book that you see come up all that often, especially in a 9.8, 2 of them in the same auction. So here we've got 9.8 black cover printing error, last sale 4,100, got as high as 7,800 during the comic boom. Prior to the comic boom, actually, look at this, 2018, 9,600. I'm guessing that was maybe around when the Venom movie came out, maybe something like that. But 1,500 to 3,000. I'd say it's probably a $3,000 to $4,000 book. These prices it's at now seem pretty reasonable. Like those seem pretty reasonable, like back in line for this book. This is a major character. This is a pretty cool air variant. It actually makes the book look, kind of better. The red is cool too, but this looks really good with the black background. And yeah, I think around $4,000. That seems pretty reasonable. And it doesn't seem like that would be a book that I'd really be all that worried that the prices would drop much more. So yeah, $4,000. And it feels like a pretty safe buy at that price point as well. We've got another Albedo number 2 and a 9.4. Got some Dave Stevens. So I made that video about Dave Stevens maybe like a couple months ago. And I was just talking about how like it's just Dave Stevens books were getting pushed and pushed and pushed by a lot of dealers, and prices just went to the roof, through the roof. And I was just warning, I was like, be cautious with that. These are going to probably start dropping. And they've definitely started to drop. This is 3D Zone number 16. Even though it says Space Fixins on the front, that's not the name of this issue. The name of the issue is 3D Zone number 16, but this is the variant. If you're not familiar, the variant is very, very similar to the non-variant. There's a little bit of text that's up on the top here for the non-variant, and this one doesn't have that text. Right now, sitting at about $200. I'm sure it's going to go for more than that. So 3D Zone. 3D Zone number 16. But I mean, it did get really, really expensive. These are examples of books that they get ahead of themselves. I mean, look at this. Look at this correction already. We had in 2023, one sold for $4,070. This year, we had one sell for $2,575, and then the last sale $1,325. This is what I'm talking about. Like, just don't let that FOMO grab a hold of you. Like it can be really, really expensive. And here's an example of that. I mean, it's dropped so fast that the non-variant hasn't caught up to it yet. It's still, its last sale was in April, whereas the last sale for the variant was in August. And so I'm guessing that if the non-variant comes up for sale, it's going to, drop significantly below that. But if you want to see what the difference is, you see just this small amount of text that's up here, 3D Zone, November, or it says then November, or sorry, number 16. Here, we'll get the full image here. So 3D Zone, number 16, and then when you go to the variant, there's no 3D Zone, no number 16, and then there's this little bit of text over here. It just says 250 in the variant. So that's all that's really different between these two. And, but yeah, is it going to keep dropping? I don't know. 1325. It'll probably go around that price. I feel like 1,000 to 1,200 doesn't seem terrible right now. I don't know where these books are going to land. The tough part with that one is we don't have any prior sales. If we look at the 9.8, I mean, prior to the comic boom, it's like a $300 book. I could see the variant going for like 2.5 times. So that's like 1,000 eventually is where I could see this one fall into, but we'll see. But I'd be very cautious with the Dave Stevens books still. Just let all that stuff play out. And, then if you're really interested in buying those, then, maybe start buying those books again. All right. Only a few books left. We're not going to talk about all these, but we've got a few 9.9s down here as well. We've got a 9.9 Spectacular Spider-Man number 78, got a 9.9 of 85, and a 9.9 of 110. Now, these were not graded recently. We can actually see, the way you can tell that is you look at the serial number up here and see these serial numbers start with 00. This is much more like what I'm used to seeing with 9.9s. I've talked about that before, that a lot of the 9.9s that I had seen came really early in the CGC grading. And then up until around 2012, then it seemed like we got a big break from seeing very many. And now it appears that we're seeing a few more again. This one here, again, you can see the serial number starts with 3 zeros, so probably even earlier. And this one, the serial number, because right now we're at serial numbers that start with a 4, starts with 2 zeros. So we can also see when this was graded. If we go over to the CGC site, we can check out the grader's notes on it. Yes, this one was graded in 2003. So they were all probably graded around 2001 to 2003, which is what I often see with 9.9s. But yeah, it's not like these are big keys or anything. I don't expect big money for these, but they're still books from the 80s, 1986, 1983, 1983. I mean, I don't know. Pay for them what you want, if you're interested in 9.9s, but it's not like these are big key books. So it's not something that I feel like you should really pay too much for. You should be relatively cautious with it. I mean, let's look at 78. We'll check out one of these. So if we look at Super Spectacular Spider-Man number 78, we'll see. I mean, I don't know if this book has ever sold publicly before on a 9.9. It has. So in 2018, it sold for $256. Back in 2003, probably right when this was graded, sold for $56. I mean, a 9.8, $75 back in 2021. It's just like a book that doesn't sell that often because it just doesn't have much value. I mean, maybe it goes for $500, something like that. I wouldn't pay much more than that though, because it's just like a run filler. It's like high grade run filler. And how much value does that really have, whether it's a 9.9, 9.8, or a 2.0? But that's my take on those. Now, the last one I wanted to talk about was just this book because I had never seen this before. And it seems like it could go for a lot of money. This is Blackman number 1. And you can see here that in the description, it says this is the first copy we've ever seen of this rare one-shot, stunning 9.4, only outmatched by a single 9.6 of the 34 total copies listed on CGC Census. Eric O'Kelly illustrates the cover and art with a story by Tom Floyd. Originally intended to be an ongoing series, this issue features a positive black role model as the title character and ads for numerous upcoming titles also featuring black characters. To our knowledge, this was the only issue released by this publisher, not in Overstreet. And on the Census, we can check out, you can see here, 33 universals. There is 1 restored. And so that's one of the fun things, watching some of these big auctions. Like sometimes you come across books that you'd never seen before. And this could be something that, who knows, maybe you're flipping through a short box or a long box or something at a show and you see this and you don't know what it is. Check out the prices because they are pretty wild. It is definitely not a cheap book. And so it could be something that if you did come across this somewhere, it is well worth picking up. And those are those little bits of knowledge that are worth having. And so look at this. A 3.0 just sold in July for $468. An 8.5 sold in June for $610. A 7.5 for $1,699. So it's the type of book that maybe as the grade goes up, you don't get massive jumps in price. It's just that it's relatively rare. So people are willing to pay like $500 to $1,000 to own it, regardless of the grade. Now, this one appears to be the second highest. Was that what it is? Yeah. Second highest on Census. So maybe that goes for something, for something more. But I mean, I could see it maybe going for like 1,500. Who knows? Like this could be something it could go for 3,000. It could go for 1,000. I'll say approximately 1,500. This 1,699 here for the 7.5 feels like a pretty big outlier. But definitely one that I thought this one was interesting to call out just because I had never seen this book before. And to me, it's the type of book that you might come across somewhere and just, flip right past it, not thinking much of it. And then you find out that, holy crap, like I go look this thing up in GPA and pretty much in any grade, it's hundreds of dollars for that book. So that was the last one I wanted to point out just because it does have a lot of value. And be interesting to see what this one ultimately sells for. Currently sitting at $31, definitely on the lower side. But again, this one's got 3 weeks, almost, 20 days. So a lot of time before this book sells. But those are all the books, from this the basically late bronze, copper, modern era that I wanted to talk about here. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments. Are you planning on participating in this auction, bidding on any of these books, just watching it, seeing what stuff goes for? Let me know, and I will see you on the next one.